Hello, everybody. How are you today? I'm excellent, thank you. Okay, today we're talking about comic books. Excellent. Comic books are a way of telling stories with drawings, okay, with pictures. Let's have a look. To create a comic book in a team, we need to be, organized and so define the roles, who does what. Maybe, for example, two people can be drawing and other writing and the other searching on the dictionary and checking spelling and everything, all right? And of course, you need to define who is the volume supervisor because you're going to be, speaking loud and that is going to be a problem in class. Okay, so to start a comic book, you need to think of you need to ask yourself a few questions like what is happening, what is going to happen. That means the theme, the story, or the plot. Well, okay, these are synonyms. You need to tell a story, tell something. Okay, you need to ask you who are going to be doing what. Yes, so the characters, and you have to think, of course, of a good and a bad guy, or maybe more than one good and one bad guy. Okay, you need to ask you when. Okay, the time that is the situation happening. Okay, it could be the years, it could be in the future, it could be in the past, in the present. Okay. Also, you need to ask you where. Where is gonna happen? Okay, so you need to think of the city or a country or maybe a planet, yes? Outside the Earth, in Saturn, wherever. But you need to explain a little bit where it's going to happen. Okay, so what, who, when, and where. Okay, so the story has to have a structure, and the structure is so simple. It has to have an introduction. What is an introduction? Well, in the introduction, you define where, when, and who is doing the action. Okay, so for example, where, New York, when, 2050, and who, the good guy is Superman and the bad guy is blah blah blah. Okay. You need to create a conflict. You need to define a problem. Okay, so the bad guy is doing something wrong for the city or wrong for the people, and the superhero is gonna help, is gonna have a conflict with the bad guy. Okay. And finally, you need to do the resolution of the story. Yeah, you need to give a solution for the problem. You need to define who wins at the end and what happens, how. Okay, good. Okay, so let's have a look at the few steps you can follow to create a comic book, just as a guide to help you out. For example, number 1, write the theme and plot. You need to think of a story with the one or two bad guys and good guys, okay? 2, the script. You need to write all the things that you're gonna need on the captions. For example, captions are the boxes that give you the information about the place, the time, or people key to the story. For example, the water of the rivers was being polluted by, yes, the city of Townsville. Meanwhile, many miles away, or another typical caption is New York City in 2014. Okay, the captions are always square or rectangular. The captions, they're not the words that people say, just some information about place, time, or people, action. Okay, in the script too, you have to write the dialogues. Dialogues, yes, are the words that characters say to each other, or they think too, okay? we use very few words and we put them into speech balloons. These are speech balloons, lovely speech balloons, different shapes. Yes, you can be as creative as you want. And also in the script you need to think of the onomatopoeias and sound effects that we're going to put inside these balloons. The sound effects, like when some explosion happens, these are some examples of onomatopoeias. Yes, puff, boom, pow, smack, wow, crash, zoom, bang, splash. Yes, these also have to be, written. Number 3, design the characters. Once you have the story, you need to design the hero and the villain. Okay, here you have some examples of, faces, happy faces, sad faces, angry faces. Yes. So you have to think of an appropriate name and costume for each character. Okay, so we have a few pictures here of the heroes and villains. As you can see easily, the heroes, they wear nice colors and they have a big, nice, strong body. And the villains sometimes are bigger, but they have an ugly face or horns and tusks and dark colors like black. But not always, because look at Batman. He is wearing black, but he's a good guy. So, and here we have a lot of logos and emblems for good and bad guys. You can design one of those, for your bad guy and then for the good guy, so they could be easily recognized as, as the bad as the good. Okay, number 4, draw the panels. Okay, the panels are these boxes in which you draw the action. Okay, there are different boxes in order, and you need to draw the action in each one as it happens. Okay, you can use long and rectangular panels or square and small panels, any shape you fancy, really. And it'd be good if you start doing it with pencil and roller, and don't press too hard just in case you make a mistake, so you can easily erase them. Here we have an example of different types of boxes and panels. For example, long box, yes, square box, like this, for detail, tall box, and don't forget the gutter. The gutter are the spaces between the boxes. For example, this space and this space too, alright? The long boxes are usually used to present places like cities, rooms, yes, or castles. The square boxes, small boxes, usually are used to present some detail, like a face of the villain, or a face of the good guy thinking. A tall box, a long tall box, usually is used to present a character, so we can see the full body of the character. But you can be as creative as you want, because some comics use round panels like these, yes, round panels, to give some extra detail or to present some important information, alright? Or look, in this case, to look inside a house, in different rooms. That's a good idea. 5. Draw the speech balloons and write the dialogues. Okay, you need to draw the balloons for each box of action with the dialogue and the captions also. Important, remember to use the correct punctuation, question, exclamation, or telling sentences. Okay, remember to use the capital letter at the beginning of a sentence and with proper names, such cities and names of people. And don't forget the period, the questions, or exclamation marks when needed. Alrighty? Here we have an example of a dialogue and a caption. A dialogue is something that the character says here, and the caption is always, remember, in square or rectangular boxes, and is information for us to tell about a character, a place, or a time. And remember, don't use capital letters all the time like in this comic. No. We are using, correct punctuation. So use the capital letters only at the beginning of a sentence, remember, and with proper names and stuff. Number 6, draw all the action. Okay, so we need to finish the comic. We have our panels, we have our dialogues, we have our captions. So we just need to draw all the action with the characters in the background and lines of action. Okay. And then we need to color them nicely with high quality. Okay, and let's have a look at some example of action lines. Action lines. Yes, these are action lines. When you were running, we draw some horizontal lines. When we are flying, some vertical or diagonal lines. Okay, look at these. When someone is punching someone, a curve line. And finally, and very important, the cover. The cover of the comic is the first page. Yes. And it has to have a big nice title like this: Batman, Action Comics, Captain America, and a big picture or drawing with the hero in it. Okay, you have to present the hero like this one. Here we have the two heroes and Superman doing something extraordinary. And finally, we're going to have a look at the evaluation and assessment, how we are going to evaluate your comic. Well, we're going to have a look at the tidiness, the creativity, the story, the design, the cooperation, the punctuation, the spelling, and the solutions you give for the problems you present. And this is the way we're going to give you the points, okay? 1 point if it's poor in general, 2 points if it's not so poor, 3 points if it's good, and 4 points if it's excellent, okay? So you have the time to read all these and think about how you're gonna, work in teams and be tidy and think of the story and be correct in punctuation and in spelling and so on. Okay, so hopefully this is clear and it helps you to think and create your own comic book. See you later.